Hi guys. Welcome to my video. It's another video in the past life series, and today I'm talking about Rahu and Ketu as part of our ancestral lineage and our ancestral karmas. We all have ancestral karmas that we are working through, as well as past life karmas, as well as some childhood traumas that are happening. These are all three things that we are working through in this life and trying to balance and come to terms with. And it's a very difficult task to get through all three of those things. I was just the previous videos I did, I was talking about how to ascertain the profession and the general feel and worldview of the past life, and also about how to look for past life connections. So if you haven't watched those videos, I strongly encourage you to do so. But then also we have the ancestral karma, and it is said that these ancestral karmas stay with us for 7 generations. So you can see what our ancestors want to express through us 7 generations back, and what they were working through, what they want us to perfect, and what they want us to work on and develop in through us, their desires through the blood and all that type of thing. Okay. A lot of cultures do worship their ancestors. It's not very much so in the West anymore. That used to be part of a tradition long before Christianity came on the scene in the pagan traditions, especially in Celtic Ireland. But now it's pretty much gone from our consciousness. And but it's still there because that's what the chart shows, especially the D12. The D12, or the Dwadasamsa, is the chart of past lives, the chart of the parents, and the chart of our ancestral lineage. And I'll put down in the description how to calculate that chart. It's very easy. Okay. So the most important planets in the D12 are Rahu and Ketu. The D12 is the chart of Rahu and Ketu. Every Varga, every divisional chart has what they call a karaka, or a planet that's most important. For example, the D9 or the Navamsha, the most important planet is Venus, because that shows marriage. And the Saptamsha, or the D7, is the chart of co-creation, or basically children. The most important planet there is Jupiter, because Jupiter rules children, is the karaka of children. Then in the D30, the Trimshamsha, the most important planet is Saturn, because that is the chart of longevity and health. So every Varga, every divisional chart has a planet, or sometimes in some cases 2 planets, but most of the time it's only 1, that rule over that chart, and they also correspond to a house. And so the D12, or the Dwadasamsa, is the chart for, we really want to look at Rahu and Ketu in that chart. And that chart corresponds to the 12th house. The 12th house is the state we were in before we were born on this earth plane. So that's how that works. And in that Dwadasamsa, you're really going to see how our ancestors want to express themselves through us. Okay. So to get started, so like I said, Rahu and Ketu are our ancestral lineage. And there's an interesting fact. If you are born in a Rahu or Ketu dasha, meaning if your moon's Nakshatra is ruled by Rahu or Ketu, you're automatically going to have some issues with your parents. and some karmas that you're going to have to work out with your parents. If it's Ketu dasha, if your moon's nakshatra is ruled by Ketu, then those issues have to do with the same-sex parent. If you're born in Rahu dasha, or if your moon's nakshatra is ruled by Rahu, then the issues are with the opposite sex parent. And now in the D12, in that Varga, what Rahu represents the opposite sex parents' lineage. So what that means is, if you're a woman, your Rahu represents your father's mother's ancestral lineage, or your paternal grandmother's lineage. And if you're a woman, it also represents your mother's father's lineage, or your maternal grandfather's lineage. Got it? If Ketu represents the same-sex parent's lineage. So if you're a woman, your mother's or your maternal grandmother's lineage. If you're a man, it's your paternal grandfather's lineage. And also your mother's maternal mother's lineage, or mother's maternal lineage. I'm getting kind of confused here, but you understand what I mean, right? It's Ketu is the same-sex parent lineage, but also their opposite sex parents' lineage through the same sex, all the way back for 7 generations. And the reason they say this, there's kind of a folk legend that when you take on the mental tendencies of your opposite sex parents. So if you're a man, you'll take on the mental tendencies of your maternal grandfather. And if you're a woman, you'll take on the mental tendencies of your paternal grandmother. So that's kind of like a folk legend. But that's what Rahu and Ketu represent in those lineages in that D12. Now, and they also represent their house positions and the planets they are conjoined. Ketu is going to represent what the ancestors want to finish up and perfect through you. So in addition to what you're working on in your Rahu and Ketu position within the birth chart, in addition to that, you're also working on those karmas that your ancestors want to complete through you, which is the Rahu and Ketu position in the D12. And then on a finer note, you will also be working on the Rahu and Ketu position in the D60. Okay, so those are 3 charts very important for the Rahu and Ketu position. Now, so you have to pay attention to those Rahu and Ketu positions in the D12. Now, the Rahu position is where your ancestors want, it's a position where they want to develop through you. So you have a lot of support for this Rahu position. And you have also a lot of support for the Ketu position in the D12. But they want to develop those areas of life through you where that Rahu is. Now, and that is based on the house placement, and that means equal sign, equal house from the ascendant in the D12. And also any planets Rahu is conjoined. Only conjoined, no aspects. Okay, we don't use aspects in this Varga, or any Vargas really, the kind of planetary aspects that you're used to. So that's how that works. Now, for example, if you have Rahu conjoined the moon, then your ancestors, and this is all in the D12, in the Dwadasamsa, if you have Rahu conjoin the moon, your ancestors want you to develop your individuality and your ego in this life. And what is pleasing to you, what is comforting to you, what your needs are, all of those things. That's how the ancestors want to develop through you. If it's the sun, if Rahu is conjoined the sun in the D12, your ancestors want to develop through you power and influence. They're pushing you to develop power and influence. Now, this is a very important chart because a lot of ancient texts tell you to use the Dwadasamsa even more so than the Navamsa. And that's because you've got power in this chart. You've got energy of your ancestors in this chart. So whatever the nodes are pointing to in this chart, you really want to pay attention to. Okay? If it's Mars, they want you to develop your willpower, and thinking logically tackling problems, your get up and go power. Not getting distracted, being one-pointed and focused. Okay? They want you to develop how you express your anger and how you will direct your anger. That's when Rahu is conjoined Mars. When Rahu is conjoined Jupiter, they want you to develop transcendentalism. They want you to develop wealth. They want you to develop creativity. Your philosophical and divine knowledge. Okay? Now this is the Rahu conjoined the planets in the D12 again. If Rahu is conjoined Saturn, they want you to develop your ability to withstand suffering. And also your ability to be alone. Okay? Saturn is all about being alone and working hard to get something done. Okay, Saturn can withstand suffering. Saturn can withstand all kinds of detriments and distractions to what he does, but he just keeps going. Saturn is about mortality. Saturn is about staying alive. If everything around you crumbles, all I can say is I'm still alive. Okay, that's Saturn. Saturn is when a bomb falls on your house and you have nothing. You have nothing in the bank and all your family died. You have to go out in the wilderness and live on your own. That's Saturn. Saturn is also nature. Saturn is wild animals. So Saturn is a very important planet for survival. So when you anytime see Rahu, Saturn, even in the Rashi or the birth chart, Rahu, Saturn, then D60, but especially Rahu, Saturn in the D12, your ancestors want you to develop that kind of consciousness that I can survive no matter what. Okay? Saturn or Rahu conjoin Mercury in the D12, that they want you to develop your skills, your communication abilities. Parashara says Mercury is the consciousness spoken. So we want to communicate what's in our consciousness effectively. When Rahu is conjoined Mercury, that's what your ancestors are pushing you to do. Okay? Okay. Rahu conjoined Venus. Venus is refinement and manners, politeness, diplomacy, being able to deal with people in an effective way and not have them hate you. If you have a bad Venus, if your Venus is heavily afflicted, it's really hard to be diplomatic with people. It's more difficult to be diplomatic with people and to be kind and gracious with people. And you want to develop that. If you have Rahu with Venus, you want to develop those social skills that navigate you through the world of other people. Okay? And that's in the D12. If you see that Rahu Venus, that's what your ancestors are pushing you to develop. And also the ability to share especially within a relationship. That's what Venus is about, is sharing. And what else? Yeah, and your relationship skills. That's what Rahu Venus is. Dealing with people that you get into relationships with, that you're attracted to, and how you handle those emotions, okay? So that's the Rahu conjoined those planets in the D12. And then also you can put Rahu through all the houses. They also want you to develop whatever that house represents. I've gone through, on my last past life videos, I've gone through what those houses represent. I don't want to really repeat it here. It's redundant. And most people watching this video probably know what the houses all represent anyway. So now if Ketu is conjoined those planets, your ancestors are pushing you to perfect those things. They already have, the ancestors developed skills with those things. Whatever house position Ketu is in, whatever Ketu planet Ketu is touching or conjoined, then your ancestors and your ancestors through you already have those talents. But they want you to look at those talents in a new light, in a new way, based on your experiences through Rahu. Okay? It's basically the same thing you're going through with a Rahu Ketu position in your birth chart. It's basically the same thing, only you have the ancestors wanting this. You already have a lot of power behind this. So you can develop these things. Okay? And, and then another little interesting fact or aspect to all of this is, so now the transiting nodes are very important. Because, we have the baseline of what those nodes mean. We have the baseline of Rahu and Ketu in our birth chart in the D12, and then on a finer note in the D60. Then we have the transiting nodes in the sky moving around as we live our life. And then, Rahu right now is in Cancer, Ketu is in Capricorn. So whatever house cusps are there, those transiting nodes, you'll notice you're perfecting those things. You're learning to kind of let go and look at those things in a new way, in a new light. So you get an entire perspective of what those house cusps represent that Ketu is touching. That's what Ketu does. Now, Rahu is the opposite. Rahu is a place where we want to develop that for that year and a half that Rahu is in a sign, and Ketu, of course. And we want to develop those house positions. Let's say your 5th house is Cancer, or your 6th house is Cancer. You want to develop your health. You want to develop your ability to work hard and take care of small details. That's very 6th house. You want to work on your self-improvement. Also 6th house. Okay. You want to work on how you deal with adversity and enemies. 6th house. Okay. So that's what, for a year and a half, those nodes moving through, you really want to develop those houses or perfect those houses, as the case may be, depending on what Rahu and Ketu are touching in your chart. And that also goes for all the planets. Now, when those nodes are transiting, it's also going to bring up ancestral karmas around those areas of life. And because Rahu and Ketu are so important in every aspect, just probably the most important thing in the chart, really, then you're going to have help if you think about your ancestors, or you really don't even have to think about it. They're there to help you. So that's how it'll bring up. And if you're a very kind of a psychic person or a very in tune person, or kind of a shamanic person in the way that you think and experience phenomena, natural phenomena, you may have some memories of things that never happened to you, revolving around these things Rahu and Ketu are touching. So just pay attention to that, if you're that type of person, because those things will guide you. Okay. And I think that's it. Oh, another thing. The nodes always show bonding in relationships and how we bond with people in our relationships, especially Rahu. Rahu is relationships, okay? Because Rahu brings us out of ourselves. Rahu pulls us out of ourselves. And that's usually to be in a relationship with someone else. But before we went through puberty and, had all these feelings for other people, our main relationships were with our parents. So that's why the Rahu and Ketu represents those parental karmas so much. And there's a lot of, traumas and trust issues around these two planets, Rahu and Ketu. So it's very important to realize this and concentrate on it and just be aware of it and try to navigate through your intense feelings, because we see in ourselves when we're attracted to somebody or we have this connection with somebody, we are trying to heal ourselves. That's what that is about. And we're trying to understand this part of ourselves. In the ancient Greek myths, their original people were two people joined. It was male and female joined. They had two heads and, two sets of arms and all this crazy stuff. And I know there's, some other legends or myths like that, but yeah, that's kind of what we're here. We're here to kind of marry that male and female half so we can move on beyond that. And it's in everybody. It's in both men and women. So yeah, that's what I wanted to mention. And that's it, I think, for today. So this week's going to be fun. I've got some other videos coming up. I'm going to do some interviews, a couple of interviews with, we're going to talk about apocalyptic astrology, post-apocalyptic astrology. And then I'm interviewing someone this weekend, hopefully, fingers crossed. So it'll be fun. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.